I believe in us. I believe. Let's go.
We do not live in a world rich with great Harry Potter games. Nobody harbors warm feelings for the horde of chintzy, cynical movie tie-ins that plagued the PS2 and Xbox during the mid-2000s. So, when Portkey Games unveiled the big-budget Hogwarts Legacy in 2020, it was clear that the studio was aiming spectacularly high with its interpretation of Harry Potter. After a 2-hour hands-on, I can say with confidence that the wizarding world has rarely looked better. The lilting charm, cockeyed whimsy, and high fantasy hijinks of Hogwarts Legacy is rendered with dogmatic servitude to the books, while the combat and exploration, the game part of this video game, is robust enough to rope in more casual fans of the fiction. Unfortunately, it's all happening at the exact moment the world is reconsidering their lifelong ties to one of the greatest stories ever told.
Oh, he's talking about the J.K. Rowling. Okay, is that what he's... I think that's what he's referring to.
If you haven't been keeping up with the information drip, Hogwarts Legacy takes place in the late 19th century, and therefore it operates independently from some of the more familiar touchstones of Potter lore. No Voldemort, no Dumbledore, no multitude of Weasley surnames. You play as a fifth-year transfer student that will be built with a potent character creator, denoting complexion, hair color, eyebrow shading, and yes, body types, vocal tenor, and the choice to be referred to as either a witch or a wizard. Afterwards, you'll be quickly implanted directly into the day-to-day scholastic rhythms of Hogwarts. My time with the game was brokered into two major sections. A treacherous story chapter where I was asked to both infiltrate and destabilize a nefarious dragon cockfighting ring, and a dulcet afternoon on the castle grounds,
cool. That's kinda
where I
cool.
solved side quests, played minigames, and soaked in the Persona-like splendor of simply hanging out at school. The combat was the highlight for me, which I was not expecting. In previous Potter games, the Quicksilver Wizard clashes of the books are reduced to dull, rote, third-person shooting galleries. Harry, Ron, and Hermione taking on an endless series of identical Death Eaters who all seem to brandish magical facsimiles of shotguns and sniper rifles. Hogwarts Legacy changes the formula considerably. Despite the projectiles ricocheting back and forth across the arenas, the game functions more like a Ninja Gaiden-esque combo masher. Your character automatically locks onto wherever they're facing, and the hocus pocus that comes cascading out of your wand can be chained together like a screen-filling, health bar obliterating Marvel vs. Capcom tsunami. Game director Alan 2 compares the system to a sort of long-range dueling. Your arsenal is mapped to the face buttons, and after messing around with the controls for a few minutes, I was able to come up with some wild, improvised concoctions. I'd Leviosa my enemy into the air, tag them with some basic filler casts, pull them in close with an Accio before setting them aflame with the Incendio. The physics engine absolutely revels in your chaos. Bodies fly across the map like they've become weightless and boneless at the mercy of your command. Harry Potter video games have tried and failed to replicate the fiction's unique take on spellcasting for decades. Portkey seems to have established a structure that will likely be aped for years to come.
It's good to see. I mean, it's easy to look at the gameplay trailers and be like, oh, the combat looks actually kind of good. But until you get your hands on it, you just don't know. And so I'm glad that they're actually saying that it's good. They gave the character purple hair. Yeah, that was a weird choice. I don't know why they would do that. Okay, anyway, continuing. Yes, we'll keep going. Here we go.
Mind the water!
My stint wandering around Hogwarts itself wasn't quite as exciting as my trip to the Dragon's Den. My character enjoyed a peaceful free roam back at home on the back of their flying broom, the Roach of Hogwarts Legacy, where they poked around nooks and crannies of the castle, soaking up collectibles, deciphering basic puzzles, and completing the menial tasks assigned to me by my classmates. One of them accidentally put a charm on her books that caused them to flutter around in the air. I Accio'd them back into her possession. Outside, in a courtyard, I joined a round of what can only be described as wizard's curling. My adversary and I used our wands to usher a set of leather balls down a wooden platform. The closer they got to the edge without falling off, the more points we'd score. These distractions were pretty lightweight. Portkey didn't allow us to delve into, say, potions class or a meaty side quest digression, which left me hoping that Hogwarts Legacy will include some finer character moments outside of the core campaign. Let us broker a genuine camaraderie with the other denizens of the school. A Harry Potter game can only hit its marks if, by the end of the runtime, we're willing to lay down our lives for a kindly groundskeeper or an eccentric headmaster. It should also be said
Yeah, the character building really matters.
that Hogwarts Legacy appears to be swimming in the darker edges of the canon. It was shocking to see that one of the spells on my combat hotbar was Crucio, better known to the layman as the torture spell, which inflicts searing white-hot pain in its target. In the Harry Potter universe, Crucio is one of the 3 unforgivable curses, a huge no-no. Perhaps these are the themes Hogwarts Legacy intends to deal with. How did Crucio become unforgivable anyways? Some of the finishing moves equipped my character were similarly macabre. After charging up a meter and tapping the 2 shoulder buttons, my avatar could reduce a rival wizard into a pile of sooty Looney Tunes dust. The Harry Potter books are centered around the purity of teenaged friendship, so it is weird to watch a 5th year take a life. Again, maybe Hogwarts Legacy intends to explore some of those questions. On first brush, though, it's pretty jarring.
That is a really good point. Like, really, really good point. Because it's no small feat for what is still a child to kill someone, even in the context of a life and death situation. So, like, it sounds like they popped into a gameplay section where it was being done pretty, carelessly and in sort of a cavalier way. And it's something that, if they explain it in the story, maybe this is a particular play style, then yeah, but as long as they build up to it, like, okay, you chose to use the unforgivable curses. Okay, but that's going to have consequences, or at least we're going to talk about it. Because even in like the books and the films, it's like a big deal when those spells are used. Like, it's not just a casual thing. So a 5th year would be like what, 16, 15, 16? Because the first year would be 11 because they get the envelopes when they're 11. So yeah, like 15, 16.
I've only just captured her. She's putting up quite the fight.
Of course, anyone who chooses to play Hogwarts Legacy must contend with all sorts of contradictions, most of which are far more important than the usual dissonance we tend to find in video games. J.K. Rowling has established herself as one of the most prominent anti-trans mouthpieces on the planet. The character creator in Hogwarts Legacy offers a huge amount of gender diversity, but that cannot change the fact that the author of these books
This is just like the Streisand effect. I really do think that. Like, I think most people going through their day-to-day, if they saw a picture of J.K. Rowling, they would have no clue who she is. And they wouldn't, of course, give a crap about her opinions on something like that. Politically, about her opinions religiously, about whatever. People don't give a crap. But when you keep saying that people give a crap, eventually they do. It's just the Streisand effect. And so, like, for all of this, I really don't see it as a major point of contention. And it's like I mentioned before, when we ran through this, when we take an example like this whole J.K. Rowling situation, we can reduce it to absurdity. It's reductio ad absurdum, right? It's the Latin name for what you do in logical arguments when you take somebody's proposed position or solution, and then you take it to the extreme and you see if it still holds up. Kind of like building a bridge and then you put something really heavy on it to see if it still holds the weight. And if it collapses, then you know to look back at the bridge design because something didn't work, right? So in the case of this, if you're saying you should not buy things or play games or watch media or films or books or whatever that have associations with people that have distasteful views, personal views. And let's just let's not even go like specifics. Like, let's just say distasteful views or views you don't agree with. You end up in some wacky positions pretty quickly, like pretty damn quickly. Like, all of a sudden you probably can't go and watch any movie with Meryl Streep in it because she had close associations with Harvey Weinstein. That gets a little weird. That gets really strange. Amazon regularly puts workers in sort of, I don't even know what you'd say, exploitive positions. So you can't use any Amazon service. You can't go to Whole Foods. You can't, all of a sudden when we reduce it or take it to absurdity and we put all that pressure on it, if you live your life according to these standards that these people are proposing, your life becomes insane and absurd, and you probably can't function. If you can, props, you'll probably end up living in the woods in a mushroom hut, but it's up to you. But at the very least, at that point, once you've pushed it to the extreme and it starts to kind of get shaky, it doesn't work anymore. And so there's got to be some issue with the proposed solution here. And the thing is, I don't think you're a bad person if you really like this thing that some crazy lady had a major role in forming. At this point, I think it's bigger than her. I don't think you're a bad person for listening to Wagner's music. I don't think you're a bad person for driving a Volkswagen or wearing a NASA t-shirt, even though NASA was headed up by a lot of former Nazi rocket scientists. I don't think you're a bad person for all of that. I think those things are bigger than those people. Okay? And there we are. Bet over half the shoppers shop at Walmart. Or they use, they're tweeting out their problems with J.K. Rowling from their iPhone, which is produced by Foxconn factories in China, which famously had to put nets around the factories where they make iPhones because they had such an epidemic of self-harm, shall we say, people leaping from the roofs, that they had to install nets around the buildings to catch them when they jumped and tried to take their own lives. But yeah, no, your iPhone, yeah, you just really like your iPhone. Be consistent. But if you're going to be consistent, you're going to start to live like a hermit in the woods. And that's why, I don't take these people very seriously when they're complaining about all of this stuff, but they don't evenly apply it. It's just an outrage machine.
The ready, witches and wizards, because I have played Hogwarts Legacy and I'm here to tell you all about it. Hogwarts, character creation, flying, combat, story. You'll see brand new footage of it all in today's video. People of the internet, Retro Tour here. I'm just a dad who loves games and the stories they tell, and today we have a hands-on preview of Hogwarts Legacy, the upcoming action RPG from Avalanche Software.
He is really cute with his kids. He actually started his YouTube channel because he was playing Animal Crossing with his son during the lockdowns. And he was like, I could make some gaming content on this. So he started making videos on Animal Crossing because he played it with his son all the time. And then it kind of turned into this whole thing, and he's covering Hogwarts Legacy now. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. This is Retro Raconteur. We did a collab with him on the main channel, if you want to go see that.
So, after all this time, is this the game that Wizarding World fans have dreamed of for years? Is it finally about to arrive? Well, thanks to the folks over at Warner Brothers, I recently had the opportunity to meet with some of the devs at Avalanche to talk Hogwarts Legacy and also play the game myself for a 2-hour gameplay session. So I was able to explore the Hogwarts grounds as well as parts of the castle itself, and then I got to experience one of the game's main missions. That's right, a story mission, which you'll see here shortly. Here on the screen now, you can see my player character complete with a Gryffindor scarf and robes, flying
Thank God he doesn't have purple hair.
around Hogwarts and taking in the absolute beauty.
Yeah, we're going to be watching the developer direct. Yeah. Didn't finish the IGN video. Well, I mean, we all, this is the thing. Again, I think it's the Streisand effect. So I am convinced that you're giving J.K. Rowling way too much credit with all of this. She's just some bitch off in a castle somewhere where she lives, going off. Who cares what she said? She wrote a cool story with robes and wizards and zippity zuba and stuff. That's what she did well. Why should we give a crap about what she says about anything else? I don't. So I'm going to stop pretending as though anybody gives a crap. Okay? That's where I'm at. So the moment people start going off on it, I'm like, okay, I'm good. You're just contributing to her getting more power than she should have.
of the castle, starting with the stained glass windows here, which feature the school's 4 houses. Now, I did get to make my own character before this. You can see a little bit of that here. Didn't spend a lot of time on this because I was so anxious to actually get into the gameplay. I was actually pretty surprised how in this very short amount of time, I got this character to look pretty close to me, minus the beard, of course, so sorry to all you guys out there who had beards at 15 years of age. But really, I created my character pretty quickly and just wanted to jump right in. And the first thing we got a chance to do is to explore the Hogwarts grounds on broomstick. That's right away, grab the broom and quickly start flying around Hogwarts. By the way, guys, you might be wondering, what is all this footage running on? It was running on a PlayStation 5 using the game's performance mode, which targets 60 FPS. And to me, it felt incredibly smooth throughout my entire play session. I think you'll see that reflected in all of my footage that I'm sharing with you today. Now, was everything perfect technically? No, we're going to talk about some of that as well. But by and large, if it's not evident already in my voice, I'm super excited for this game, and I'm super excited to tell you about some of the things we saw here.
He's one of those people that gets like really quiet when he's excited. And as you can tell, I'm freaking out. I am freaking out. Can you swim? TB, I think that question will be answered very, very soon.
All right, so back to this absolutely gorgeous window. You may recall seeing this image back when the game's release date was confirmed. They used it in a screenshot here. But now actually getting to see these windows while I was playing the game and flying around them, I mean, it really was a breathtaking moment to take in Hogwarts like this. Now, you see the water over there in the distance? Well, guess what? Yep, you can swim. I can confirm swimming is in Hogwarts Legacy. It does not appear you'll be able to dive under or explore anything beneath the surface, but seeing that we can swim along the surface, I know a lot of fans are going to be very happy about that. Now, aside from the swimming stuff, I just want to talk about all the little details. There are so many details.
What resolution are we in? I'm gonna go full 4K because I don't want to critique like texture quality or any of that unless like we're giving it every benefit of the doubt. What I will say is like performance mode, it seems to be running smooth. It doesn't look to be too blurry. Like Forspoken, you'll see in the video that just went up, I tried it in performance mode and immediately, like at times that game drops to 720p. To maintain 60 frames. And even then it drops down to like 20 frames in certain parts. And like you can just tell it's not optimized well at all. This seems to be fairly well optimized. I will say like back here, distant textures looked a little rough.
I can confirm.
It was back here on the broom.
While I was playing the game and flying.
But this is better. I can already tell this is better. The high resolution is helping.
Around them. I mean, it really was a breathtaking moment to take in Hogwarts.
Like here is specifically what I'm talking about. So like these textures start to get really degraded as you go far. But on console, that's perfectly reasonable. And especially console on performance mode. So I don't have a problem with that here. It does make me wonder what this game looks like playing on PC. Cranked, like with a 4090, you know, running at 4K. This thing could be one hell of a looker when it all is said and done.
It's like this. Now, you see the water over there in the distance? Well, guess what? Yep, you can swim. I can confirm swimming is in Hogwarts Legacy. It does not appear you'll be able to dive under or explore anything beneath the surface, but seeing that we can swim along the surface, I know a lot of fans are going to be very happy about that. Now, aside from the swimming stuff, I just want to talk about all the little details. There are so many details, subtle touches that longtime fans of the Wizarding World are just going to absolutely love. The castle, from what I was able to see, is so intricately designed. And speaking of these little details, I mean, just take, for example, this offhand conversation here that's happening between a group of students.
And have you seen how these professors look at your clothes? Black looks at me like I'm a pauper. I swear the man thinks I have fleas.
I wish they'd let Ronan teach the entire curriculum. Charms is the only class I can stay awake for.
Or this comment from one of the Floo Flame locations, which serve as fast travel points in the game.
You can't imagine how inconvenient travel was before I invented Floo powder.
It even appears other students are going to reference things about our character that have already happened in-game, such as this comment from a Slytherin student.
Watch out, it's the Troll Slayer of Hogsmeade.
And even though we can't play Quidditch ourselves, you can actually fly around the castle, even inside the Quidditch pitch. I just had to go and test this out. Yes, you can fly around it. And then as I go and fly down low here, you'll see that you can actually even sometimes find teams practicing Quidditch here. Another detail that I absolutely loved, the musical cue that plays whenever you collect one of the game's field guide pages. Or this one when I completed a brief side quest.
I should have seen that.
I'm glad that the music is so good. It's just so good. Who were we talking to that said the music was not very good in the movies? I almost punched him in their damn mouth. I also was watching a video where a guy he was like going off on people who were going to buy Hogwarts Legacy, and he he said he didn't like the movies of Harry Potter, specifically because he said, and I kid you not, he said this, he didn't like how Voldemort, as portrayed by Ralph Fiennes, he didn't like how Voldemort was played for the laughs. I honestly don't know how you come to the conclusion that Voldemort is a character being played for the laughs. Like, I seriously don't understand it. And he's like, yeah, the guy just looked ridiculous. It was clear they were trying to make people laugh at him. Like, what? No. Like, it was just like, it was like, congratulations, you somehow managed to have an even stupider take. Wow.
Now, we already had heard the overture to The Unwritten. It seemed like they had absolutely nailed the music, but it is so nice to see that not only did they get the music right, but also all of these little extra pieces, these little sound effects that are going to happen here and there throughout the game as you unlock different things. I mean, think about the iconic Zelda sound whenever you open up a chest, or same thing with Metroid. There's that iconic save station sound, right? I truly feel like they have found the perfect little music chime for each one of these that fits so well within the Wizarding world. They are perfectly striking that balance between something that feels very familiar, but also new at the same time. Now, speaking of that side quest where we heard that little chime, that one actually begins when you speak to a Hufflepuff student named Lenora Everly, just outside the library here. She's stumped by an empty painting and has discovered that casting Lumos will have an effect of some kind, but she isn't sure what to do next. So if you go over, cast Lumos in front of the empty painting, a location appears in the painting. Once I managed to find the location, I noticed a large moth on the wall here. I'm going to try Accio first. Nothing happens. So then I decide, let's try Lumos, which immediately triggers a reaction from the moth. It begins to circle the wand. Then I returned it to the painting and was rewarded with a new field guide page. So this is just a small example, I think, of some of the puzzles that you can expect to encounter.
It's like Korok seeds. That stuff is great. And people like, I heard somebody, it was a while back, but they were talking about Breath of the Wild. And they said they couldn't stand the Korok seeds because they're so mindless and tedious, and getting all of them was super annoying. I don't think you're supposed to get all the Korok seeds. Like, I think the whole point of little things like this is that as you explore the map, you discover more things that you can engage with, and it keeps things interesting, like, and captivating. So, you know, you talk to her, she mentions this thing, and so you go and you figure it out and you bring it back. Easy. And you just got distracted. You know, that's the, it's the getting lost element to games like this. They really make or break them. The ability to be like, okay, I need to go across the map. And then you look up 3 hours later and you've gotten sidetracked doing 15 other things because there's so many little things that are just interesting and that pull your attention. I think that's great. I have no problem with that. Yes, thank you, Rocky. 340 people in here, only 120 likes. We can do better. Coming from your humble tyrant. Yes, if you could like the stream, I would greatly appreciate that. So I'm interested in this. I do hope that somebody asked if we can change the mini map into a compass on the top. I would greatly appreciate that. Because I would rather like memorize the layout of the castle and the grounds, but that might be wishful thinking. I don't know. I just don't love this Rockstar style of minimap. I know a lot of people do. This is purely subjective. So I think it would be best if they had the option between the two. But that being said, you know, whatever.
Counter in Hogwarts Legacy. Definitely wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the easier ones. And also, I should point out that I had a dev from Avalanche kind of sitting right behind me, sort of pointing out, here's how this works, here's how that works. So I don't know that I would have solved it as quickly if he hadn't been there. Now, when it comes to quests, you also have the option to track quests. And when you do, this golden trail will appear in front of you and lead you to the quest location. Here, I'm on my way to meet up with Lucan Brattleby in the Crossed Wands Dueling Club. Now, as I was on my way there, I got to witness something that the devs at Avalanche referred to internally as a wow moment. It's basically when a scripted event is triggered based on your location in the castle, or who knows, maybe even outside the castle as well. But with this particular one here, I got to hear some rather humorous dialogue from everyone's favorite poltergeist, Peeves. Of course, you know he's in the game. And if you're a longtime fan of the series and know your Wizarding World lore, then I think you'll appreciate this particular line right here.
Real quick, he mentioned that he was playing the game with a dev standing next to him. When I did my preview of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like 6 months before the game came out, I was doing a mission, and it was remote. It was done remote, so it wasn't like they were over my shoulder. But they were sitting at a computer in Austin, Texas, looking at their screen that I was remote playing off of. Like my controller was routed to that, so I could see what was on that screen. But they were sitting there watching me play. And I forget exactly what I did, but there was a mission, like the little girl with the apple tree, or not the apple tree. There was like a leaf on the tree, and she was waiting for it to fall because her father left and said he'd be back before the last leaf fell. And then the last leaf falls. And I did something in that quest line that they didn't see coming. And I don't remember what it was. It'll come to me randomly, I'm sure. Or I could ask Jacob because he probably remembers. But I did something, and it like broke the quest completely. And I did it, and I was like, I don't think it's triggering properly. And I remember the dev just going, oh my God. And then they took notes, and they fixed it for the final release. But this type of thing does happen. Like every once in a while, you know, players will just do something the devs did not expect at all, which is just funny to me. So yeah, anyway, you're playing the game wrong. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least I figured it out, or I broke it before it went out into the public, you know, but it was just so funny because I could hear the dev like, God damn it. Like, okay. Because he probably was thinking immediately, how do we fix that? And it probably wasn't a super easy fix. It's going to kill me. I've got to remember what it was. Because it wasn't even that outrageous of a thing. Like, oh, you know what I think it was? I think what it was is that I had a bow and arrow, and I shot at the little girl who was by the tree. Because from like a distance, I didn't think that she was a little girl. I thought she was an adult. So I shot at the little girl, and it like hit her, did damage. You couldn't kill her, but it put her into a permanent aggro state. And so then she wouldn't engage. I think that's what it was. So they had to figure out some way, I guess, to prevent her from taking damage or turn off aggro mode for children characters. You know, it's just one of those things where people like didn't consider, the devs probably didn't consider that players would shoot children. Understandable. That's a fair oversight. I'll give them that one. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Oops. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, it's all coming back to me. Yep. Okay.
He tried to stop me, did rancorous carp. Sought to trap me, confine me inside of a jar.
So as I stood there listening, I happened to notice another field guide page, and then after casting Revelio, I was able to retrieve it. So that's already two different ways here that we've seen you can obtain these field guide pages. The little pages flying around as well. Yep, you can also use Accio on those, and I gotta say, this was super fun. I kept getting distracted. They were trying to kind of guide me to one place to the next, and I was like, nah, I want to go after this field guide page right here. Now, a bit further down that hall from where I'm at Peeves, I came across this unlit brazier, and after an accidental Accio cast right there, I was able to light it with Incendio, which again gave me another field guide page. I'm a trophy hunter, you guys. I'm gonna be honest, I'm already like just so ready to dive in and look for all these field guide pages. I hope there's a ton of them in this game. So even in just my very short time.
Yeah, it's all these little things. Again, Korok seeds. You're not probably meant to get all of them like 100%. You can if you want. But like, I think in Breath of the Wild, I have the gameplay guide down behind me on the bookshelf, but I'm pretty sure there were like almost 900 or 900 exactly. There was right around there. Of those things. And most players probably would only get like 100 or 200 of them in their run through. But it's because they just wanted to make sure no matter where you played the game or no matter where you went in the game, you would run into some. So as you play, you get distracted again. You know, it's really cool. Can you use your broom inside Hogwarts and fly? I highly doubt that. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Okay, I'll let this keep going. I know Rocky just sent some messages, so I'll try to catch up.
I think it was pretty interesting to see kind of the wide range of things you can do to actually find these field guide pages throughout Hogwarts. All right, so eventually I did make my way over to the Cross Wands Dueling Club, and I got to have my first experience with the game's combat. Now, everything we've seen so far of the combat is someone at Avalanche playing, and community manager Chandler Wood stressed to us that, hey, look guys, the person playing this, is actually really good at the game. They played it a lot because a lot of people thought, oh man, this looks way too easy. Well, I was playing on the normal difficulty and I never died in my 2 hours with the game. I did come close a few times, but I can confirm to you guys that while this system is easy to understand and get into, it is going to be very difficult to master. And I mean that in a good way. If you like challenge in games, especially, again, I was at the normal difficulty, I found it very, very challenging and one that you're really going to be.
I think this is going to be a game I play on hard. Because I think like when you play on hard, you'll have to learn how to play the game well, and you'll start to really swap between spells and things quickly and efficiently, and in a good way. And so I think that this is a game that probably excels on harder difficulties. I would guess. Oh, sorry, Imperium. I'm sorry. I'm being biased. I'm terrible. I'm the worst. Anyway, I saw you send messages, so I was trying to catch up on the messages. But let's see. I don't want to get heated at this game. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that. I just want to like, I want to chain all these things together, be parrying stuff. Like, if it really is that fluid, which it seems to be, I want to jump on it. Yeah, by the way, everybody, the new video went up earlier at like about 30-40 minutes ago. So go check that out. Rocky also posted it to our Discord, which is in the link tree in the description box. So if you want to join our Discord, head to the link tree, jump in there. We have a great time and you can hang out with all of us. Thank you, Nightbot. Boom. See, isn't Nightbot great when it works? Isn't it great? By the way, Rocky, I figured that out. The reason Nightbot wasn't working at all is because I had it on subscriber only mode, and Nightbot doesn't even have the courtesy to subscribe to the channel. But you know who does have the courtesy to subscribe to Luke Stevens Live? You do, right? You okay. And unsub. Okay, anyway, back to it. So I opened the chat to everybody, so we might have some more spam bots, just so you know, but there we go.
Rewarded for the more you learn this system. Now, I mentioned being very close to dying. Well, thankfully in my playthroughs, my inventory included access to a handful of Wiggenweld healing potions, and yes, I did have to use quite a few of them. As for spells, I had access to Lumos, which wasn't much use here, as well as Levioso, Accio, and Incendio. Now, the red spell...
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
that you see being cast frequently is simply known as a basic shot, and while it only does minimal damage, it's useful for juggling enemies to set up combos and to give your other spells time to refresh from their cooldowns. Notice the color-coded shields on these opposing students, which can only be broken, by the way, if you cast a spell that belongs to the corresponding color category. So notice here in the bottom right how each spell has a color coding with it.
Okay, I unironically, is anybody in chat colorblind? I'm actually very curious about that. How would this work if you are colorblind? Like, I know there's different types of colorblind, so maybe they have a way of like color coding it where it's like different shades, so you'd be able to tell. But how does that work if shields are color coded? Like, are you able to tell the difference between these four? So you'd be able to like correspond that this is the same shade as this top one? I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. You can kind of tell. I'm red colorblind. I have to put games in colorblind mode usually. Okay. I think the red could be a problem for some people. That would be the easy way to deal with it, was with like a symbol or something. Interesting. Colorblind modes exist? Yeah, no, for sure. I hope they have them. I don't know if they've gone through what they have. But that, like any color-coded gameplay system, that's like I immediately start to think about that. Colorblind, preset modes, edit, most user interface, and most heads-up display HUD elements that might not be accessible in the original colors for players that may need them tailored to protanopia, red-green, or deuteranopia, red-green, or tritanopia, yellow-blue, from their FAQ. Okay, they've already taken it into consideration. That's good. That's good. Luke, you should have named the video I played Forspoken so you don't have to. I almost did that. We'll see how this titling and thumbnail combo works, and then if it starts to flounder, I'll swap it. That's pretty normal. That's our second. That's our like backup title, so we might just end up doing that. How tall am I? 6 foot but I know every white dude says he's 6 foot, but I'm actually 6 foot. I'm actually taller than Nikki now. I kept growing until I was like 25 or like 24 and a half, 25. I'm 25 now, but like I only recently, as far as I can tell, stopped growing. I'm a big boy now. Back when I was in college, I was like a solid 5'11", and I was a good bit shorter than Nikki, and now I'm taller than Nikki. She's a midget to me.
So in this case, the only yellow one I
See, you missed my message again. Rocky, calm down.
have here
Back
is
in your cage.
Levioso, so that is what I have to cast to break this yellow shield. Now you also have your own shield charm in the form of Protego, and at first I was almost completely ignoring it. It is mapped to triangle on the PlayStation. It's actually very easy to press, it's very easy to do, and I should have been casting it any time that I saw one of these yellow indicators appearing above my character.
Yeah, like
the
the
red
parry.
though, that means the spell is unblockable, so you're going to need to use circle to kind of dodge out of the way. Another aside here, I've been playing way too much God of War recently, so anytime you see me jump in the middle of the fight, I was most likely trying to use the dodge roll instead, which I know that's going to come with practice.
Thank you. It drives me crazy that God of War has the dodge routed to X. I know it's stupid. I cannot stand it. It drives me so crazy. Luke, I'm 6'1", you're a midget. Yeah, but you're in Australia, so you're upside down. Sucks to suck. Yeah, I'm 25. Love the new subs coming in and finding out Luke is 25 always blows their minds. Is that surprise? How old did you think I was? Do I come off as like way younger or like way older? You look 10. Oh, dude, just wait till I shave. When I shave my beard, I look 12. It's bad. I haven't shaved my beard though. Like pre-COVID was the last time I was actually full. No, that's not true. Because I did shave cleanly for like a week when Locke was born. So in all of Locke's like baby pictures, I'm clean shaven. But that was the last time. So like almost a year and a half ago. What video is this? This is a magical first look at Hogwarts Legacy. You can see in the top left here by Retro Raconteur.
From there, I had to put much of what I'd learned about combat to the test and learn about the game's stealth mechanics, because our next sequence features a main story mission with Poppy Sweeting joining up with our player character. Now, in the opening dialogue of this mission, she asks our character if we know anything about Horntail Hall, which she overheard a group of poachers discussing. Now, we go through this little brief investigation with Poppy, casting Revelio and sort of finding clues, and eventually we find our way to a group of poachers standing guard around a small tent. So Poppy says, hey, you can use stealth or you can use a less discreet approach. I decided to try the stealth approach using the disillusionment charm, which we now had access to at this point in the demo. So by approaching the enemies quietly from behind, you'll see a prompt giving you the option to press square for Petrificus Totalis. And unfortunately for this poacher, he'd probably have preferred I used AK on him instead. A bit further in, I wanted to test out whether or not the enemies would react to seeing someone hit with Petrificus Totalis if it happened in their line of sight. Sure enough, the poacher on the bridge over there, he hears something is up, quickly comes over to investigate, and yet because I'm still under this disillusionment charm, I quickly slip away, and I don't think they were able to realize my exact location. Once the final game is out, it'll be interesting to play with this a little bit more and see exactly how that detection works. You're going to see another example here in a second when they do detect me. This guy, though, I don't give him long enough to investigate. At this point, I built up enough ancient magic to actually unleash one of the game's finishing attacks. So L1 and R1 right there, I call down lightning from above and just absolutely obliterate this dude right here. So after a few more Revelio spells and looting, we make our way into the tent, which holds a rather shocking surprise.
What in Merlin's name?
What in Mervin's name? I can't wait to do that. You better believe I'm going to do that for like the big freaking critique. We talked about it in the last, like one of the last streams, and people in general thought it would be really, really funny. So I'm going to start, Mervin. And then we find out that Morbin's ancient magic is still present on the campgrounds. Mervelin is omnipresent. Oh, God, it's going to be so funny. People are going to get so triggered in the comments. It's going to be great. Merlin.
I mean, look at that. It's like the Weasley family tent, right? In Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Only this time we realize there is a whole dragon fighting ring inside this tent. It's called Horntail Hall.
That is really cool. You go into this tiny tent and that whole thing is in it. That's pretty badass. I will also say, I know I'm a horrible person, but This would be cool AF. Like, come on. You're telling me you wouldn't go see dragons fight? I don't believe you. That's cool AF.
Inside this tent. It's called Horntail Hall. We eventually make our way to the bottom of this area where Poppy and our main character find a group of poachers with a captive Hebridean black dragon. That's right, if you've been following the game for a while, you will recognize this dragon. So here's where I tried to start the fight with a stealth approach. Again.
Is there a magical PETA? YouTuber Luke Stevens was canceled by Magical PETA today because he said he would attend dragon cockfights if they existed in this world. Oh, God. And then I go and I have my apology video. I've made a serious mistake and had a serious, significant lapse of judgment. I will do better, and I will work every day to earn back your trust that I have lost, because I said that I would go to magical dragon cockfights in a mythical world. Oh, God. Yeah, this needs to be a whole story arc.
But with the numerous enemies both on the ground, near the dragon, and higher up above, my cover was quickly blown. I think it was this guy right here. Maybe I stepped a little bit too close and he overheard me. Also, it's important to remember Disillusionment is not a complete invisibility spell. You know, it's not like the invisibility cloak from the series. And of course, even with the cloak, Harry could always be heard. But they didn't give me the option to restart, so I had to just go crazy, start fighting these guys, and I had to put all my combat skills to the test. So at this point, we also had access to 8 spells instead of just the slotted 4 you see here. So you can quickly get to those by holding R2 and then pressing right on the D-pad. Again, it's all based on where you have them mapped. So not only did I have access to Levioso, Depulso, Accio, and Confringo, but also Expelliarmus, and even the unforgivable curse, Crucio. The other 2 spells, Reparo and the Disillusionment Charm, neither were much help here. So the fight ensues, and fortunately for us, we have Poppy on our side. She's along to help, even deploys a few plants on the battlefield here. And things are pretty smooth sailing for me for a while until this moment right here. This particular Animagus transforms into a wolf, and even more poachers arrive on the battlefield. All right, I don't plan on using dark magic in the final game, so please don't judge me, but finally, I had enough of this wolf and, well, had to do this. And it was here at this moment I really started to feel more comfortable with the combat. Still, nowhere close to mastering. I want to highlight this particular moment right here because this was one of my better moments with combat. You can see me dodge the unblockable attack, again, that red indicator. Then I nail this enemy with Accio, follow it up with a quick Confringo, shift my focus to the Loyalist Ranger that's
in chat real quick
if
you can.
Parry that attack from behind with Protego, again, the yellow indicator, and then go right back to attacking the Ranger, even hitting him with an object by using R1, which is known as an Ancient Magic Throw. Honestly, that Ancient Magic Throw, I should have been using it a lot more. It's a mechanic that I just did not take advantage of enough. So I'm nowhere close to mastery, but I can't stress enough, guys, just how fun the combat was throughout my whole playthrough. I thought it was just the right amount of challenge. Again, I was on the game's normal difficulty, but I found myself constantly on my toes, particularly in this last battle here. I mean, things are just going crazy. It's weird, you know, going back and watching the footage, it feels a lot slower, but in the heat of the moment, I have to stress to you guys, it felt absolutely frantic, and I mean that in a good way. I was trying to remember my parry, my dodge, all the combos I could do, the Ancient Magic attack, the Ancient Magic throw, plus all the other spells that I had at my disposal, which I actually kind of forgot about halfway through the fight. And then right here at the end, I love this. You know that little plant I mentioned that Poppy has on the battlefield? Yeah, they finish off the final enemy for us right there. So, what do I think about the game? Are there any negatives that I took away from my experience? Well,
let's hear it. I'm not saying there have to be negatives. You can have a playthrough that's really, really good. Like, usually the best games I've ever played, I just don't have much bad stuff to say about them. I'm like, honestly, there's just not a lot to go through. So, like, the end. But let's see. He's still got 5 minutes left. So we're going to see if he has any stuff that's worth bringing up. 90% of you are saying that I should use dark magic in our review playthrough. Okay, I can do that. By the way, no, I have not gotten a review code yet. Me and my team are working desperately on it. It is like our prime top priority for this year so far.
If it isn't clear by now, I love my time with the game. Absolutely loved it. The 2 hours went by in the blink of an eye. When they took the controller away, I seriously didn't believe it. I was like, wait, are you guys serious? That's been 2 hours? No way. All I wanted to do was play more. In fact, if you think that having a taste of Hogwarts Legacy has made the wait for launch easier, no, it hasn't. It's had the opposite effect. I want to play the game even more. I just keep thinking about, I want to play more of this game. So all that being said, guys, it would not be fair to you if I didn't point out the issues that I encountered during my 2 hours, because I did encounter some that I have concerns about. Now, we also reached out and asked kind of what build was this that we were playing on. We've been told that it is not the final version, and also it doesn't have the day one patch. So hopefully these things can be ironed out before launch and then fixed with that day one patch. All right, so let's start with the one I think is the biggest
I'm guessing audio. I'm guessing that's his concern.
At least for me, and that is when I was hit with a loading symbol before certain doors would open. It's this little white circular symbol here, and it happened 3 different times to me. Usually the loading was very quick, it only appeared briefly, but one of those 3 times you can see that I sort of back up from the door and then approach it again before it finally opens. I'm pretty confident in saying that they want this game to be a seamless kind of no load experience. I don't think they want you to see any kind of loading screen, so I don't think that was intentional. And even if it does happen occasionally, I mean, hopefully it's going to be like the quick one rather than the one where you have to kind of back up and wait. All in all, though, I would still prefer this over just having a complete load screen having to take over the screen. I also had another issue when I was flying around the open world. I decided to stop at this little spot right here, and as I dismount the broom, you'll see these students kind of just appear out of nowhere. They're not here when I'm flying in, and then once I land, there they are. And then
that's all data streaming related, so the engine's just trying to load in data as quick as it can. It's very tough. Like, it's why Bethesda games are always so limited in terms of movement speed. You can't really sprint in like Fallout 3 or New Vegas. In Skyrim, you can sprint around. But there's a reason that they never give you like a motorcycle in Fallout. They never give you a car. They never let you, you know, freely fly around in vertibirds and stuff. And it's because their data streaming tech is pretty lackluster. So this is a very common issue. This is not just this game, but I do hope that gets polished out because that can be kind of immersion breaking. Let's see, Thomas, thank you for the 3 months. Anyone else not interested in Harry Potter besides me? I didn't like the books or movies. I'm probably going to get chastised for this. You know what? As long as you gave them a shot, no one can give you crap. We gave Maddie like a little crap joking around because he has not even finished watching the movies or the books or anything. So, like, yeah, we're going to tease you for that a little bit. Just a little bit. But, you know, that's fine. We'll forgive you.
And just kind of a strange one, it's this lock-picking mini-game. So whenever you cast Alohomora to break a lock, which is a spell we had access to in that final mission, basically the way it works is you go up to the lock, you cast Alohomora, and then you're taken into this little screen right here where you are charged with breaking this lock. So I kind of understand the inclusion of a mini-game like this. I mean, we've seen it in mini-games before, even though it kind of goes against the lore of Alohomora and how it works. It's fine, you know, but
as long as it's better than the mini-game in Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm happy. I love that game, but that lockpicking minigame sucks ass.
Game itself, it just didn't feel quite right. You have this series of dials as well as 2 sparks that you need to position. You can see the instructions here on the top right, and then they want you to
move the sparks, rotate the dials until both corresponding gears are activated and release the lock.
Rotate using the left and right stick. Now, I even had a dev standing right by me kind of guiding me through it, and it still just seemed a little bit unclear to me. And even after you managed to get the wheel spinning, the window seemed very, very narrow. So it's like I had to hold my left stick just in precisely the right spot and then also start rotating the right stick as well. And really what you're looking for here is for those gears on the bottom right to start spinning, but then you just have to make sure that you hold both of the sparks like exactly where you have them. So this one to me, I think seems like an easy fix. Maybe they change the directions up a little bit, make it a little bit more clear what you're supposed to do, and then also maybe increase that invisible window. Again, we can't really see the window, but just make it so it doesn't have to be so precise. And truth be told, even with my complaints, it still only took me a minute. I went back and looked at my actual footage to see how long did it take me here to actually get through this. It still only took 1 minute, which is not too bad.
But when you have 2 hours with a game that hasn't been released yet, that minute feels like an eternity.
It was more the confusion than anything that bothered me. It just wasn't exactly clear what I was supposed to be doing there. So all in all, I absolutely cannot wait to play more Hogwarts Legacy. I was particularly impressed, honestly, by the visuals. There are a few graphical glitches here and there you might have noticed. Again, this is not the final build. It does not have that day one patch, but even on performance mode, I thought the graphics looked great. Getting to play what felt like a very stable 60 FPS. Personally, 100% I am going with the performance mode. No questions asked. As far as how it feels to move around the world, I thought the character was very responsive. It generally felt good to move. It felt good to cast spells. When it comes to the spell casting system, particularly in and combat, I think they've absolutely nailed it. It feels fresh, different than anything I've played before, certainly miles better than the old Harry Potter games. And I also love the unique challenge it provides, while also giving players options for different playstyles and really being able to find your favorite spells, figure out the combos you like, and then tailor it to your own style. You know, set up those slottable spells in a way that works best for you. Now, one thing I wish I'd had more time to do is just run around the castle and see what all you could interact with. I tried it a little bit in the library, and I also tried it outside when I was running along the beach. I tried to cast Accio on one of these leeches right here. It was a little bit surprising that Accio didn't work to kind of pull that leech to me. Instead, I had to walk over and press the square prompt to pick it up. And then some things in the library would interact when I cast a spell, like this little picture frame right here. And then others were not. Just for the heck of it, I had to cast Incendio, see if it would burn any of the books. I also couldn't get over just how immersive and cinematic this whole experience felt. I told some of the folks there, I said, this truly felt like a new story in the Wizarding World. I mean, right up there with watching a new film. That's what I felt like when I sat down to play it. Oh my.
Playable on the Steam Deck, they already confirmed it will be playable on the Steam Deck. It will be certified or verified or whatever on the Steam Deck day one. So, yes.
Gosh, like we are in the Wizarding World again, ready to experience a brand new story. And frankly, this is only scratching the surface, the tip of the iceberg, if you will, just of our footage alone that we were able to get here while we were at this event. I have so much more to discuss from my hands-on time with the game. The full mission alone is packed with a ton of new information, so you'll definitely want to check out my full playthrough provided without commentary by clicking the video on the right side of your screen now. So
yes, and I do have that. I want to hear dialogue. That's the main thing I want to hear. So you guys remember in the last gameplay thing we saw, the audio was super compressed, super duper compressed, which was like a little annoying, a little infuriating. It just didn't hit the ear right. It just didn't sound great. It sounded like audio from like going back through and playing a 2006 game, you know, really compressed. Let's see if they fixed it or if it was a recording issue or something else. Let's see. It's better now. I'm ready. Did I get a Dead Space remake review code? No. EA doesn't talk to me. I think it's because I was so mean about Anthem recently. I think that might have had something to do with it.
High Wing's fine. I'm keeping an eye on.
You're telling me that's better. Come off it. It's in spam. Yeah, it's in the spam.
She's safe, Poppy, I promise.
Good. Whatever the poachers are up to, I want Highwing far from it.
You said you had news about the poachers?
Okay, what's happening? It sounds like they stacked the audio. Something weird's happening. Thomas Mullins, thank you for the $5. What should...
donated $5 through Super Chat. What should I have for lunch? Options: fast food, fake Mexican, gas station, or Cinnabon.
What the hell is fake Mexican? What does that even mean? Fake is like, it's just Mexican food. It can be bad Mexican food, but like, do you mean Taco Bell? Dude, if you're gonna go to Taco Bell, go get a steak quesarito. Will blow your mind. It's good stuff. Otherwise, probably Cinnabon. I'm a sucker for Cinnabon. Whenever I go to Universal Studios in the Wizarding World, I get a Cinnabon right at the front gate. It's a must, in my opinion. That seems like a bug. Yeah, there's something really, really weird here. Taco Bell? Yeah, no, then you got to get a steak quesarito. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. Yeah, let's see if another video has the same audio issue, because there's something weird there with like the simulation. It's hitting my ear weird. It might be a capture issue again. I don't know though. Something weird is happening though. Let's see, who else is there?
Oh my gosh, I played Hogwarts Legacy and as a lifelong Harry Potter fan and gamer, this game blew me away. So here's what worked and what didn't work during my hands-on.
Thank you for
Ghost
that.
91,120 donated £5 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
It seems when you change pitch in Character Creator, it ruins the voice.
That's what it seems like to me too. I will not mess with the pitch for my playthrough, but hopefully that's a day one patch that they can handle. 'Cause that's rough. That's yeah. Why did these dorks get to play the game early, but not you, Luke? Oh, Mr. K. Well, first of all, these guys are very, very sweet, and they are hardcore fans who've been covering this game a lot. So that's the main reason. Like, these guys exclusively have covered this game for the last year and a half. So every video they uploaded is on this game. And so Warner Brothers was like, okay, we got to treat them right. We'll give them early access, which is kind of cool. And I don't have a problem with that. My only problem would be if they weren't letting other people who are a little more skeptical or a little more like have less eggs in the basket, basically. If they didn't let those people check it out, then I would like have more concerns. But they still let like IGN look at it, even though IGN's video was kind of pointless. Just saying. But I don't have a major problem, you know. But yeah, they were covering this while Luke was still pooping on Valhalla. Yeah, for real. IGN roasted it. Well, they like kind of hyped it up. They showed off the same stuff we've seen with these, but then they didn't offer any constructive criticisms or anything. They just came out and said like, yeah, J.K. Rowling sucks, so maybe don't buy it, which is just weird. I don't know. Sounds like you're just salty for not getting an invite. No, I couldn't have gone if they invited me. Like, I have a wife and a child upstairs. Like, I can't just drop everything and go to LA for a week. So no, I'm not salty at all. And I'm really glad that these guys got to go and that they're not just hyping it up. They're also opening or discussing potential issues they have. You know, they're actually trying to evaluate it critically.
2 weeks away from the official release of Hogwarts Legacy. About a week ago, I was invited over to WB Games and I got to play Hogwarts Legacy early. And I have to say I was pretty impressed. Before we continue, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to WB Games and the entire team that was over there at this event. Everyone was absolutely phenomenal, and it just felt like I was talking to a bunch of kids that were just overall fans of Harry Potter, and they got to somehow fulfill this dream of theirs to make a Harry Potter game. Within this video, you're gonna get Hogwarts Legacy raw gameplay at 4K played on the PlayStation 5, of course played by myself. Now we got approximately 2 hours to play this game. But to be fair, it did not feel like 2 hours. It felt like it was a bit less. And a lot of that has to do because we were being guided by an individual of where we had to go and certain things we had to do. And then of course we're playing super slow because we're looking at everything. We're interacting with this and that. And some of the things that we were doing, we could not include in this video. So although we did play for 2 hours, it may not feel like it's 2 hours in this video. Most likely won't be 2 hours because one thing about this recording session, it was very, very strict and we were very limited to the things and places that we could go to. One question that stood out to me in one of my videos that I wanted to address before we begin with the raw gameplay. Hopefully it's not just a big empty world though. Exploring is cool as long as it has things in it to experience. Flying around aimlessly with nothing there only goes so far. Before I went to this capture event, I had read that comment and I couldn't have agreed more. To be honest, you can have a massive open world game, and if it doesn't have life, it just feels empty, and it is a massive turnoff, and it just kills the experience. If you're gonna do an open world game, it has to feel rich and it has to feel alive. And one thing that I felt within this game when I played it was rich and it was alive. Now, please take this with a grain of salt. We were very limited as to where we could be within this open world. We weren't really able to go outside the castle, to be honest. So that aspect, we will just have to wait and see. But what I experienced inside the castle was pretty ridiculous. And you can also basically watch the movies and play the game and you'll see the same exact areas almost to the T.
I think it is. Yeah, it is.
And so many things that you can interact with. People are just walking by, talking. Students are practicing magic. There's so many things going on that you can really just sit back.
This is just my face. When I worked at Chick-fil-A, you guys saw those pictures of me back in like high school. When I worked at Chick-fil-A, which I did, it was my pleasure. I had like such a ridiculous jaw. People would call me murder face because I would just be sitting there. And I would just apparently look livid all the time. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm a bad YouTuber. Hold on. Hogwarts Legacy reaction.
And admire what's happening around you. It was truly pretty freaking cool. Two things that I wanted to also mention that kind of took me by surprise, and these are two things that I was really hoping would feel good, was one, the flying, and two, the fighting, the combat system, the magic spells. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but the flying felt really, really cool. And the combat as well, once you start getting the hang of like the parries, the blocks, and how you can parry different things, and you have to dodge for certain magic attacks, and how you can combine the magic spells and stuff like that, everything starts to flow. And when it does, it feels really good. You can also jump off somewhere and summon your broomstick and you can fly away. I didn't get to do that because I didn't think about it, but I was told, and then I saw it, and it's pretty gnarly. I'm gonna stop talking. Again, a huge thank you to WB Games. Please let me know down below your thoughts and opinions.
Hella important. Hold on. Voice 1, here we go.
It was wonderful. I believe I'm really going to enjoy this class.
I'm eager to get to Hogsmeade.
I am indeed a student. That was cool. It was wonderful.
Yeah, that better not be final, because that's bad. That's real bad. I want a deep booming voice. We got the Kratos voice. Hold on.
I can't wait to go to Hogsmeade.
When I go to Hogsmeade on my broomstick, I like to ride the gravy train to Sexy Town. Sexy Town is where it's at. Sexy gravy train town.
Avada Kedavra, boy! Hold on. Reverb 2, we need reverb. Atreus! Atreus! Oh, that's great. Avada Kedavra.
I believe I'm really going to enjoy this class.
I believe I'm really going to enjoy this class.
A few cobwebs and some dust.
A few cobwebs and some dust.
I am indeed a student, but I could very well be able to help you.
I may be a student, but I may very well be able to help you, sir. Dilly dilly. Why is the rum always gone? Oh.
Oh, you want the Grinch quotes with like the heavy reverb and echo? Hold on. Hello! How are you? I asked you first. Oh, that's real mature. Solve world hunger. Tell no one. Dinner with myself. I can't cancel that again. Are we doing news today? We kind of touched on a couple topics at the start of the stream, like the day before stuff. We talked about that right at the top. In two parts. So we did like a preview to it, and then we talked about all this stuff. So we did that, and then I think the Xbox showcase will have plenty to talk about. So we'll probably rely on that. Oh, hey, let me check out this Hogwarts Legacy reaction. Me quoting The Grinch, a movie from like 2003. Yeah, that's what you come here for. Okay, I want to see what the data streaming is like once you start flying quick. Is the pop-in really bad? Speed burst, flight speed, toggle, flight speed. Okay. That lady just appeared out of nowhere. Watch this over his left shoulder down on the road below. See that? Now, if you didn't notice that, that's okay. This is in 4K. Yeah, this is in 4K already. So no need to ask 15 times. So that pop in, not everybody's gonna notice. That's okay. Not a big deal. I notice it drives me a little crazy, but hopefully that's something you can just crank out with, like, being on PC. You can really just go crazy. It was magic. That's the get out of jail free card for this game. No matter what, it's always, it's magic. Oh, you fell through the floor? That's magic. Yeah, there's some pretty bad pop-in, specifically with characters. Watch as he flies. See, that guy just popped in over his right shoulder. You'll see what I mean. Watch, he pops in right here. See, he's fading in. And now he's in. Now that might not drive you crazy. I'm a cynical ass, so it drives me crazy, but still. We are not making put it in 4K a meme. Please don't. Put it in 4K, Luke. Oh, we could sell t-shirts with that. Put it in 4K. Oh, that's kind of cool. Can you land up there? To be fair, they only have 2.5 weeks. So one thing I think it is important to reference and let you guys know about this. For builds like this, like when I tried Valhalla 6 months early, that build had been completed roughly, according to what they had told me, 6 to 8 months before that. So the version that we were playing as like a soon, like early preview of the game, or not that early, but a preview of the game, had been made half a year to 3/4 of a year beforehand. That's when it had been like locked down. So this version of the game could, in all likelihood, if that's the standard that's pretty normal, this could be from last summer, which is weird to think about. But like, that's why when it seems like out of nowhere, they just make all these improvements from these last look demos and stuff. It's not that they actually just threw that together. It's that this version of the game is from a while back, you know? So this might not actually be the major issue. A few reviewers have mentioned it, so I hope they work hard to fix the pop-in and weird loading. Yeah. That's got to be top of their priority list. It's probably why the game was delayed, honestly, so I'm down. Did you play this game early as well? No, I did not. No, I did not. Sure didn't. I probably... No, I won't say that, but yeah, no, I did not. Oh, wait. Ooh, baby. Did that entire bench pop in? No, it was like a text. It weirdly kind of did, though. What on earth was that? He rounds these characters. This tells me it's a culling issue. So, and I've seen some artifacting from this in other segments of the game where there's like weird white outlines around objects. So what's happening... yeah, it's a culling bug. Yeah, I mentioned this before. And for those of you who have never seen this kind of thing before, let me just show you. The best example, Horizon Zero Dawn. I guess just culling maybe is where we find it. Yeah. Oh my God, shut up. So this is what game engines are doing all the time. when you look in a certain direction, this is the camera for the player, right? When you're looking in a certain direction, it renders those things on screen, and as the camera moves and pans, it gets rid of the stuff no longer in view in big chunks and blocks. And that's what's called culling. One of the other things that can be done with this to kind of stack it up, like let's just do culling or game development maybe. Because I've seen some other examples of this that do good. Yeah, this is like sort of looks like a class demonstration of it. But this is kind of what they're trying to do. So all of these areas that the player can't see, these out labeled areas, they don't want to render because it would be a waste because there's a wall in front of it. So the player can't actually see that. So to save on memory, you do, as you see, frustrum culling, occlusion culling, clipping, backface culling, and Z buffering. And they'll use all of these things in combination or sometimes in exclusion, and not render the bits and load these into memory that are not going to be seen by the player. What's happening here is that this player character blocks the bench. So to save on memory, the engine culls the bench and cuts it out. So cull, yeah. Right here, as we pass, that's the dude's pants. As we pass, the bench has not loaded back in. And so it's just gone. And then it takes, so this is 1 frame, 2, 3 frames. It takes a full 3 frames, which at 30 frames a second is a full 1/10 of a second to load in, which is a lot. It's a lot. I'm having to press it twice. So yeah, this is 30 frames. And the fact that he's doing this, he uploaded this video at 4K, 30 frames. That makes me think he probably was playing on the quality mode. Does he say in the description what he was playing on? No, he does not. He does not. Oh, he's in Miami. I've actually thought of moving to, not Miami, but probably Tampa. Tampa or Orlando. So I don't know what mode he was playing this on, but for a 1/10 of a second, for that to not be there, that's not okay. That's not tolerable. So hopefully they fix that. As to how you fix this, I'm not even going to pretend to know the ins and outs of the tech side to get this type of thing working. But my understanding is that this usually has to do, again, with data streaming tech and overly aggressive culling, which is sometimes done in open world games to try and save on memory so they can go bigger and badder and have better stability. But it's just overly aggressive. Like, honestly, they probably didn't need to cull that bench in that moment, because you see they load back in, and it's not just the bench, it's also the light posts, this brazier, and then the light post over there. All of those load in at the same time. Oh, and it's these stone, like these stone, I don't know what you call them, maybe. Those go in between these things, and they were cold as well. That's weird. So that's something they got to fix, because that's going to drive people crazy. All of that popping. Maybe they need to set it so NPCs don't cause culling. Yeah, something like that. I think something like that could work. 16 times the detail.
16 times the detail.
But like you said, this might be an older version of the game, so perhaps the day one patch will fix most of the pop-in. It is annoying me, though. Yeah. Well, and I think it also shows it's going to be important, if they can manage it, to let reviewers play on the day one patch. Or at least a newer version of the game, because this is something like I would bring up in a review, but if it's fixed on day one, then there's no need to get people like worried about it if they've handled it, you know? So who knows? Just finished your Forspoken review. It's hilarious how bad that game is. Dude, you'll see there are moments, I guess, like, it's just so bad. Like, oh no, I splashed some chai on the soundboard. Oh no. Oh jeez. Is the audio still working? Or is it like kind of I'm kidding. Yeah, I spilled a little chai. I think it's okay. I wiped it up very quickly. Anyway. That's because you're being too critical. Chill. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And people come to me to be critical, so that's what I try to do. But with this type of thing, like if you're having a tech issue where for a full 10th of a second, huge chunks of your scene haven't loaded in, I'll tell you. Because if I didn't tell you, I would just be a shill. So I'm going to tell you. And if you don't want a reviewer who's going to tell you when shit's broken, then you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm not the YouTuber for you, my friend. Oh, it is so funny when we're playing a game like Forspoken and it's just horrible. It's just bad. And people are like, you're just really being too hard on this game. I'm like, what? Like they're asking you to pay $70 for it. $70. Like, and you're trying to tell me that I'm the one being overly aggressive? Come on. He took my thing.